Welcome back to class number 184. Yes, we have 17 classes left. Only 17. That's 3 weeks and 2 days, right? Or wait a minute, no, miento. We don't have 17 classes left. We have 12 classes left. My God, I'm starting to lose track of my weeks. My God, we have 12 classes left, which means 2 weeks and 2 days, including today. Class 84, there's some interesting expressions here, some very, very important ones, especially to back up and eventually. But what I'm going to do right now is to review class 183, but not the numbers. Don't worry about numbers. Let's go back to try and a few other things as well. Camera number 1, please. All right. You need to try to do your best. Always try to do your best. I always try to be on time. I always try to teach without coughing, all right? It's not easy to teach on television for 585 hours and not cough from time to time. Okay, it's natural. It's natural. Some people on TV are very stiff, very nervous. Why? I'm just talking to people. Even though it's a camera, I know that behind the camera, they're normal people. Like Maria, like you, like me, we're all normal people. So, I try to be on time. I try to be polite at all times. Escuchad esta frase. I try to be polite at all times. I try to be polite and courteous at all times. En todo momento, en English, en todos tiempos, literalmente. At all, o en todas veces, at all times. I try to be polite and courteous at all times. I try to be on time all the time. Llegar a tiempo todo el tiempo. I try to be on time all the time. I try to do my best. I try to teach as well as possible. I try to stay up to date on new techniques of teaching. I try to. Intento todas estas cosas. Siempre trato de estar al día. I always try to be up to date. I always try to be with the times. I always try to. Okay. Otro try. Okay. Try teaching only on camera 2. Try teaching. Eso es probar haciéndolo. Vamos probando diferentes formas de hacerlo. I can try teaching. I can try holding the pencil or the pen in my left hand and teach and see if I teach better. Or I can try teaching with the pen in my right hand. It's interesting. It's interesting. As I've told you before, I used to be a competitive runner. I used to run the 100, 200, and 400 meters. And I ran the 2 relays. The 400-meter relay and the 1,600-meter relay. Now, the 400-meter relay is very quick. It's only 40 seconds and it's over, all right? And 4 runners, each one runs 100 meters approximately and hands the baton. The baton is el testigo. Se escribe batón, como palo en francés, baton. You hand the baton to the runner to the next leg, the próxima pierna, pata, el próximo tramo. To the next leg, you hand the baton to that person, and that person is normally running and puts his hand back, not looking, and is waiting for you to place the baton in his or her hand, okay? Many years ago, people looked back, looking back like that, but that takes too much time. Turning around, you lose maybe 0.3 of a second. And so now you're running, and you put your hand back to receive the baton, and you continue running, and you don't change the baton to this hand, all right? But when you deliver the baton, because people run, and your arms are not usually straight, they run a bit in, the natural way of passing the baton to the next runner is from, if I have the baton in my right hand, I deliver the baton to the left hand of the person in front of me, and that person takes the baton with his left hand and starts running. Now, for some runners, holding a baton in their left hand, especially if they are right-handed, doesn't feel natural, and they want to switch. Sometimes you will see runners in relays, when they receive the baton, they change to their right hand, okay? And it takes some, there are two dangers. Number one, you lose about 1/10 or 2/10 of a second in making that change. It's not recommendable. Second, you can drop the baton. More than one runner has dropped the baton, changing hands as the runner was speeding up to full sprint speed. So they have to learn to run with the baton in their left hand and to deliver the baton to the next person's right hand. It's like that. It's quite interesting, the science of relay races. But people say, look, try running with the baton in your left hand. And some people say, I can't do it. Come on, you have to learn. Try again. Try again. Try running with it. To try más gerundio. All right? I remember one person who ran the 400 meters. 400 meters is a hard race because the last 80 or 90 meters are deadly. They're mortal. You're always very tired, and you need to close your eyes and finish it with the last energy you have in your body. And there's a lot of psychology in the 400 meters. I remember one runner tried running the race with a baton in his hand. It's funny. Funny significa curioso. It's funny that when you run the relays, the 4x400, the 1600 meter relay, you run with a baton in your hand, and you're thinking in catching up with other people, and so you're not nervous. In relay races, you're not nervous, okay? For some reason, you don't have butterflies in your stomach. And I remember one person tried running the normal 400 with a baton in his hand. In the end, it didn't matter. He still lost the race. But nevertheless, he thought that holding a baton, he tried holding a baton to make a psychological change in him. Quite interesting. So to try. And finally, remember, the third way of saying to try is probar. Probar una comida, to try the food. There are a lot of food. I have tried almost everything in Spain. I think I've tried everything that people eat. There's some foods I don't like here. There's some foods that Spanish people like that I don't really care too much about. But I've tried everything, I think. I don't think there's any type of Spanish dish that I haven't tried. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to class number 184. My name is Kyle, and I'm here today with Juan. Juan, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Great. Juan is fantastic. I like that enthusiasm. Today we're going to start with a little review of yesterday's material and practicing today with the verb to try. What does that mean, to try?
Intentar.
Intentar. Also, procurar. Also, probar, right?
Yep.
Have you ever tried Canadian lobster?
No, I've never tried Canadian lobster.
It's delicious. You should try it. Ask me if I've ever tried callos.
Have you ever tried gallos?
No, I've never tried it. Should I try it?
Yeah, you should try gallos. Absolutely.
Okay, maybe I'll try it. Okay. Have you ever tried callos? Because I've never tried it. Have you tried it? Yeah. Do you think they've tried it?
I think they've tried it.
Okay. All right. ¿Has intentado hablarlo con ella?
Have you tried to talk about it with her?
To talk about it with her, or to talk to her.
About it.
About it, yeah. Say that again, please.
Have you tried to talk to her about it?
Have you tried to talk to her about it? Good question. Procura ser puntual.
Try to be on time.
Try to be on time. Okay, for you at home, nunca he probado oreja de cerdo. Also true. That's also true. How would you say that in English? I've never tried
Pig's ear.
Pig's ear. Have you?
Yes, I have. You should try too.
I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical, Juan. Intentaré no destacar. This is true. Try this at home. Intentaré no destacar. I'll try not to. Juan, can you help them out at home?
No, I don't know how to say destacar.
To stand out. Right?
Okay.
If I were 3 meters tall, would I stand out?
Yes, you would stand out.
Would people stare at me?
Yes, people would stare at you.
If I were 3 meters tall, imagine that. I wouldn't fit. I can barely fit in the chair now. If I were 3 meters tall, I would definitely stand out, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Procura no meter la pata.
Try not to fail.
Now we have an expression here, meter la pata. We say to put your foot in it.
Really?
Yeah,
So they try not to put your foot in it?
yeah. Try not to put your foot in it. Tell me again.
Try not to put your foot in it.
All right, I'll try not to. He told me to try not to put my foot in it. All right, okay. ¿Probarías? This is a good question. ¿Probarías serpiente?
Would you try snake?
Would you?
Yes, I think I would try snake.
Would you? Would you try snake? Eating it? Would you try eating it? If we're going to use the verb, we use the gerund. Would you try eating snake? No, I don't think so. I don't like those exotic things. I'll stick to chicken, you know? Él intentó mantener su promesa.
He tried to maintain his promise.
We say almost like guardar.
He tried to keep his promise.
Yeah, he tried to keep his promise. He tried to keep his promise. Now, I promised that we would review all of the last class, so I want to try to keep my promise, which means we have to take a look at some numbers. So you've got the little board there. Why don't you pick up the board?
Sure.
I'm going to dictate some numbers. So get out your pen and get out your paper. I'm going to read the numbers at home. I want you to write them down and read them back en voz alta, out loud. And Juan's going to do the same. Are you ready at home? Are you ready? Are you ready, Juan?
Yes, I'm ready.
Because they're ready. Okay, the first number. Big ones this time. This is the advanced class. This is high-level stuff, right?
Yeah.
2,436,880. And the second number, 7,070,677. And the third number, 6,776,230. How did you do, Juan?
Shall we go? I think I made it.
Did you get them all right? First of all, your prediction, no problem?
No, no problem. I think I got them all right.
Piece of cake?
Piece of cake.
Piece of cake. Pan comido, right? Piece of cake. No problem. All right, what's the first number? Can you show it? Can you turn it around and show the audience?
Sure.
All right, what have we got? What's the first one?
The first one. Shall I go? The first one is 2,436,880.
2,436,880. Correct. Well done. Now at home, did you get that number? Yeah? Good. What's the second number?
The second number is 7,070,677.
Nice. 600 and, remember, 177. Great. Good job, Juan. And finally, last but not least.
It's 6,776,230.
Okay, good. Let's go for the bonus number. Quickly, quickly. One more number.
Okay.
3,650,115. Did you get that, Juan?
Yes, I got it.
What's the number?
It's 3,650,115.
One more time.
3,650,115.
Nice. Well done. I hope you got that at home. Did you get that? Good. Great job, Juan. Good job at home. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, this segment is devoted to la espalda, back. Let's go to camera one. Okay, oof, I'm going to break the table today. Back is espalda, my back. The backstroke is 100 metros espalda. In swimming, for example, the 100-meter backstroke. Okay, but back. Now, to back into es chocar contra algo dando marcha atrás en el coche. To back into, I backed into a bicycle Was there a person on the bike? No. Oh, thank God. I backed into the wall of the garage. My God, to back into. To back out is salir marcha atrás. You look and you back out of the garage. Some people have a individual garage. The car goes in and they back out of the garage and then go. If you park, front end parking, you need to back out before you can go. That's to back out. All right? To back away from means if you see something that's dangerous, you start recular. You back away. Para alejarse reculando is to back away from the danger, to back away from him. All right? If you're walking in the forest and you see a wolf, slowly you start to back away from the wolf. Then you turn around and run away. But first you back away. Okay, to back. Now, to back up has two meanings. One is dar marcha atrás con el coche, to back up. If you go past the number, you need to back up. But the most important use of back up is apoyar. Te voy a apoyar. I'm going to back you up. Yeah, I'm going to back up the Republican candidate. I'm going to back you up. I'll give you my support. I'll back you up on this. You going to talk to the boss today? Well, if you're going to talk to the boss, I'll go with you. I know that you want to propose something. I'll back you up on that proposal. I'll back you. Do you want me to back you up? I'll back you up. I'll support you. To support has basically three very similar meanings. To support means apoyar como un soporte físico, como una columna, un pilar. It supports the structure of the building. That's physical support. Another support is apoyar. Te apoyaré. Vas a proponer esta solución y te apoyo. I'll support you. I'll support you. A third, of course, is mantener la familia. I support the family. The breadwinner, we say el ganador del pan, usando el verbo to win aquí. The breadwinner is el que lleva el dinero a casa, is the breadwinner. The breadwinner supports the family. Traditionally, the father or husband or the man has been the person who supported the wife and family. Okay, that of course has changed a lot in the past 60 years, and basically in many marriages, both couples are the breadwinners, and both people bring money and food to the home, and so the children are supported by both. In the United States, in my generation and previous generations, now I don't know, maybe, teenagers began to support themselves quite soon. Starting at the age of 14, I had a job to support myself. Okay? Now that's mantener económicamente. All right. To support. But here we're looking at backup, que es apoyar, en el sentido de darle apoyo a una persona en una acción que va a emprender o una propuesta que va a hacer, is to back the person up. I'll back you up. I'll back you up on everything. Don't worry. That's what a friend is for. I'll back you up. I'll back you up. I'll back you, seen up, is almost very, very similar. I'll back you, también. But to back is used more in the sense of I will financially support your effort. ¿Quieres ser candidato a la presidencia? Sí, te respaldo. Te respaldo en esto, con dinero. So I'll back you. And I'm considered a backer. Not a supporter in this case, but a backer. The word supporter is basically a British and Irish word, supporters. It's used for los miembros de un club, los socios de un club de fútbol. They're called the supporters. In the States, we don't say that. We say the fans, los fans, aficionados, the fans. We don't say the supporters, because usually a supporter is a person who gives money to officially support the football club, in this case. They're called supporters. But a backer is a person who supports you financially in your candidacy. All right? He's a backer. My backers. They're backing me. In a sense, they're backing me up. Pero cuando es dinero que dan, recaudan y ponen dinero, is to back. Okay, to back him. But when you're saying un apoyo moral, un apoyo, no sé, delante del jefe, delante de un consejo, is to back you up. All right. Respaldar. Necesito que me respaldes en esto. Necesito que me apoyes en esto, eh? I need you to back me up on this, eh? I need you to back me up on this matter. I'm going to speak to the board tomorrow morning. There's a board meeting tomorrow morning. And I'm going to propose a complete change in the logistic system of the company. And you know as well as I do that it's necessary. You know as well as I do that it's about time, that a change is essential for the future of this company. So I know you're going to be in the meeting tomorrow, and I would appreciate it if you could back me up on this. I know you're going to be in the meeting tomorrow as an outside advisor, not as a member of the board. But nevertheless, I want you to I would appreciate it if you could back me up on this. I would appreciate it if you could back me up on this. Agradecería que pudieras apoyarme en esto, respaldarme en esto. All right? I would appreciate it if you could back me up on this, because it's a very important subject. It's a very important topic that needs to be addressed, and then it needs to be approved, authorized, because we need to make some important changes, and I need your support, and I really need the support of all the managers in the company. So I need you to back me up, and I need the rest of the people to back me up as well. Okay, I have to make this proposal to the board. It's going to cost a lot of money. It will mean probably at least 30 million euros in additional costs for this coming fiscal year, but I consider it totally necessary if we want to create the futures that we want to create. All right, so I need your support. So please back me up tomorrow in the meeting, and please talk to a few of the other board members, because if they can back me up, if several board members can back me up on this, I'm sure that it will be approved. All right. Listen, I want to propose that this advanced section of Algo Negocios 4.0 be extended for another 300 classes, because I think you need to continue improving. So I'm going to make a proposal to Aprende Inglés Tuve to extend this, not 195 classes, 495 classes, 300 more classes. And I would appreciate it if you could back me up on this, because I'm sure you agree with me that your English is not perfect yet. I'm sure you agree with me that you still need to make significant improvement in your ability with the language. So please back me up on this. If a lot of you back me up on this, then Aprende Inglés Tuve will make the decision to make the investment and to extend the advanced program for 300 more hours. Otherwise, I'll lose my job.
Hello everyone. Today we're going to practice with a phrasal verb. My name is Layla, and to practice this fantastic new phrasal verb, Anna's here with me. Anna, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. So the phrasal verb is respaldar. How do you say that in English?
To back up.
Exactly, okay? Back up. It's a separable phrasal verb, so we can separate it. We can put the noun between the verb and the preposition. Okay, so I can say back me up, respaldame. Back him up, respaldale. Okay? So it can respaldar o apoyar, right? It's the same thing. So first I'm going to give you some sentences in English, in Spanish, and first I'm going to give you some sentences in Spanish, and I want you to translate them for me into English, okay? And then I'll ask you some questions in English, so this way we practice the interrogative.
Okay.
Okay? So the first one is, ¿por qué no me apoyaste?
Why didn't you back me up?
Okay, now, sorry, is that a question?
Yeah, why didn't you back me up?
Okay, now remember, we can always put emphasis on the first word and on the last word.
Okay, why didn't you back me up?
Okay, good. All right. What does she want to know? She wants to know why I didn't back her up. You see how we can separate it? Back her up. Okay, so we can put the pronoun between the verb and the preposition. Okay? I don't know why I didn't back you up. I'm sorry. Okay? All right, more. ¿Por qué dijiste que le ibas a apoyar? Let's say it's a man.
Why did you tell him that you'd back him?
¿Por qué dijiste? No por qué le dijiste. ¿Por qué dijiste que le ibas a apoyar?
Why did you say that you would back him up?
¿Por qué dijiste que les ibas a apoyar? Right?
Ah,
So
okay.
it's the future with going to.
Ah, okay. Why did you say that you were going to back them up?
Exactly. Okay. So we can say that. It's not necessary. Okay. We can include it or not. So why did you say you were going to back him up? Or why did you say that you were going to back him up? Okay. So we can say either one. I don't know why I said I was going to back him up. Okay. ¿Me respaldarás si voy a hablar con el jefe?
Will you back me up if I go talk to the boss? Is that?
Yes. Okay. So I'll say it one more time. ¿Me respaldarás si voy a hablar con el jefe?
Will you back me up if I go talk to the boss?
Exactly. Okay. Good. What does she want to know? She wants to know if I will back her up if she goes to talk to the boss. Okay. Good. ¿Me respaldarías si hablara con él sin hablar antes con los otros?
Would you back him up?
¿Me respaldarías a mí, right?
Okay.
¿Me respaldarías si hablara con él sin hablar antes con los otros?
Would you back me up if I talk to him without talking to the others before?
First.
First?
Okay. Ooh, that was almost perfect. Okay, so this one is really long. It's challenging, right? Okay, so I'm going to say it in Spanish one more time, okay? And then I want you to translate for me again, all right? So, ¿me respaldarías si hablara con él sin hablar antes con los otros?
Would you back me up if I talk to him without talking to the others first?
Exactly. Okay, now did you hear intonation? Because I didn't hear intonation. One more time.
Would you back me up if I talk to him without talking to the others first?
Perfect. Okay, you see why we make you guys repeat all the time? Because that way the structure stays in your head, right? Yes, I would back you up, even if you didn't talk to the others first. Okay, good. All right, so now I'm just going to ask you some questions. All right, do you always back your friends up?
Yes, I always back my friends up.
Okay, one more time without.
Yes, I always back my friends up.
Good, okay. At home, what does Anna always do? She always backs her friends up. Okay, so here again, we separate it. She always backs her friends up. Okay, now the other way around. Do your friends always back you up?
No, my friends don't always back me up.
Okay, now can you say that one more time for me, just with more confidence?
No, my friends don't always back me up.
Okay, what don't her friends always do? Her friends don't always back her up. Okay. Does your boyfriend always back you up?
Yes, my boyfriend always backs me up.
One more time.
Yes, my boyfriend always backs me up.
Okay, good. What does her boyfriend always do? Her boyfriend always.
Backs me up.
There you go. Okay, so just in case somebody forgot what it meant, let's just remind them one more time. What does back up mean?
It means apoyar.
Apoyar
Respaldar.
o respaldar. Exactly. Okay. Is it separable or inseparable?
It's separable.
It's separable. Okay. Now remember, it's very important to know if a phrasal verb is separable or inseparable, right? Because that way we know how to use it or not. Okay. And this one is just one more time.
It's separable.
Exactly. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Would you back me up if I asked you to?
No, I would. Yes, I'd back you up if you asked me to.
One more time.
Yes, I'd back you up. I'd back you up if you asked me to.
Okay. I didn't hear the T at the end of ask.
Yes, I'd back you up if you asked me to.
There you go. Okay. All right. So what would she do? She would back me up if I asked her to. Okay. Ask me if I would back you up.
Would you back me up if I asked you to?
At home, what does she want to know? She wants to know if I would back her up if she asked me to. Well, it depends on what you ask me to do, right? Okay, so yes, I would back you up if you asked me to. Okay. When was the last time you backed someone up?
The last time I backed someone up was 2 years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
That long ago?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Do you think it's easier to back people up at work or in your personal or in your personal life?
I think it's easier to back people up in our personal life, maybe.
Right, okay, so if you say our, we can say lives.
Okay. In our personal lives.
Okay, well, I'm sorry, what's easier to do what?
It's easier to back people up in our personal lives.
Okay. And if we compare it as opposed to?
As opposed to our professional lives?
Exactly, exactly. As opposed to?
Our professional lives.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Do you back all of your colleagues up at work?
Yeah. Yes, I back all of my colleagues up at work.
Okay. If a stranger asked you to back him up, would you do it?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't back a stranger up if they asked me to.
Okay. Or if he, right? Because it can be a man.
Okay, if he asked me to.
If he?
Asked me to.
Okay, good. Now say it just one more time for me.
No, I wouldn't back a stranger up if he asked me to.
Good, okay. So she wouldn't back him up. Okay? Well done, Anna. All
you.
right, fantastic. At home, I hope you had a fun time practicing and that you learned a lot. So I will see you next time. Goodbye.
Eventually, 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 eventually. ¿Qué significa eventually? Okay, tell me on camera number 1, please. Okay, eventually no tiene nada que ver con eventualmente. Strange, totally different. Eventualmente, eventual. A veces sí, a veces no. All right? But in English, no, eventually means antes o después, tarde o temprano, al final de todo, al final. Sooner or later, and eventually are very similar. In the end, finally, in the end. If you study every day, eventually you will improve. If you make an effort every day with the English language, eventually you'll reach a good level. Se usa muchísimo en inglés, the expression eventually. Yeah, eventually. Yes. If you read maybe 30 minutes a day, philosophy, if you read Aristotle, Plato, Spinoza, Kant, etc., 30 minutes every day, eventually you'll develop the ability to understand what they say. Because sometimes it's very abstract and you need time as they develop their premises, and then from the premises begin to develop their world of philosophy and metaphysics and ethics and other semantics and other types of things. And they build a world. The more you read philosophy, the more you begin to understand it. And eventually, anybody with normal intelligence can appreciate and love philosophy. So, I recommend it. Also, I recommend that you read all of these philosophical treatises in English, because eventually you will notice a difference. If you read one, for example, forget philosophy for the moment. Let's go to bestsellers. Imagine tomorrow you fly to Paris, and you have a delay in the airport. And so you decide, you go to the bookshop in the airport and you buy a bestseller. And you see it in English, and I'm going to buy it in English. So you start reading for an hour and a half in the airport, waiting to board the airplane because it's late. And you realize, I'm understanding the plot. I'm understanding the storyline. Yes. And if you finish that book in 2 weeks, I recommend you buy another just like it. A bestseller with suspense, action, a page turner. And if you continue, if you can read 1 or 2 novels a month in English, don't use a dictionary. Just read to understand what's happening in the book. If you read 1 or 2 novels a month, after 2 years, eventually you will notice a change in your English. eventually you'll notice a change in your English because you will notice eventually that you are really beginning to speak better and beginning to understand better, to beginning to feel better, more confident. Eventually, it's a question of confidence. Yeah, you need to do things that provide confidence in your communication skills. Yes. Also, if you go and live abroad, if you work abroad, if you go to London, to New York, to Sydney, to Wellington, you find a job, you may have some problems at the beginning understanding people, especially in New Zealand and Australia, even in London, and even in New York. At first you won't understand people very well, but eventually, as time goes by, you'll understand people almost perfectly. And you will realize, eventually you'll realize that what people say is not really difficult English. It's simply your ear was not discriminating. People say things like pa'lante, which means para adelante. And so you realize eventually that many of the sentences you don't understand are composed of normal English, or in this case, normal Spanish, and you see it in writing and you understand perfectly. All right? Eventually, the ear opens up. That's the secret of living abroad for the listening comprehension. You will never understand English well unless you expose your ear to native speech for a long period of time. Well, for many, many, many hours, 1,000 hours. And eventually, your ear begins to open up and it begins to discriminate sounds. Okay? When somebody in Spanish says, no se dicho nada, a foreign ear understands nos. It doesn't understand no os he dicho nada. They understand nos he dicho nada, and it doesn't make sense. But if you stay in Spain, if a foreigner stays in Spain, eventually the ear begins to discriminate these sounds. All right? And so that happens. But it's a long-term question. Eventually you solve the problem. But early on, it's quite tough. So the expression eventually. Also, we have the word eventual, the adjective. His eventual decision as to whether to study English or French. All right? Al final decidirá. Esa decisión final, the eventual, que tendrá lugar. Okay? Tendrá lugar, por eso digo, seguro que tendrá lugar, por eso digo eventual. His eventual decision as to whether to study French or English will decide how we should respond to this question. The eventual. In the eventuality, okay, that he does this, eventually you will realize that many of the things I tell you every day are true. If you continue studying English, if you spend a lot of time, if you really devote your energies and efforts to learning English, eventually you'll realize that everything I have told you in my sermons, etc., are true. Hard work produces very interesting results, which at the same time produces satisfaction, which at the same time produces the desire to continue studying, which at the same time produces more progress, more confidence, and you become more confident in yourself, and you enjoy more self-esteem, and you begin to succeed in more things, not only in English, you begin to succeed in a lot of areas, other walks of life, and so eventually you become a successful person. If you approach the learning process in a healthy, positive way and work very, very hard, the dividends are handsome and in many more ways than simply, in this case, learning English. Eventually, you'll be a successful person. First, make the effort that learning English requires, and eventually, that effort will be transformed to an effort in many other areas of your personal and professional activity, and you'll be successful and maybe happy. All right? Yes. Many, many people say, a través de las obras, de la obra, del trabajo, okay, hard work has a strong impact on general happiness. Not that the harder you work, the happier you are. That's not necessarily true, but there is a very strong correlation. And eventually, If you work hard, you'll agree with me.
Hello and welcome back. My name's Richard. As you know, I'm the other Richard on the show. Little Richard, if you like. And today I'm here in the studio with David. David, how are you?
I'm very well, thank
Good.
you.
You're back again for
Yes,
more
I'm back again.
punishment, more
Yes.
punishing exercise. You're a glutton for punishment. A glutton for punishment is someone who likes
Okay.
pasándolo mal, que le gusta pasarlo mal.
okay, a masochist.
A masochist,
Yes,
exactly.
I
You're a
am.
glutton for punishment. A glutton is un glotón,
Ajá.
¿no?
Okay.
Un glotón de
Ajá.
que le gusta castigarse.
Ajá.
Okay? A glutton for punishment. Muy bien. Okay, guys, we are going to look at 5 new words. Well, I hope they're not new, but if they are, take note. The first one is to dismiss, which means,
Despedir.
exactly, you can dismiss someone
Ajá.
from a job, you can fire them, echarles a la calle, despedir, okay, or you can be dismissed,
Ajá.
cuando te echan a ti, okay? Bien, to design,
Ajá.
to design,
Diseñar.
muy bien, very easy, with a silent G, because you said designa, ¿no?
Ah,
No,
son-
diseñar.
No,
¿es verdad?
diseñar.
Sí, designar es otra cosa.
Sí.
Bien. Designar es designate, por cierto.
Ajá,
Y ahí
ok.
sí pronunciamos la G.
Ajá.
To designate. To depart,
Partir.
partir, muy bien. To determine,
Determinar.
muy bien. And the last one, the odd one out. The
The
odd
odd-
one out is el,
The
la
old one out.
excepción,
Ah, okay.
because it's the only one that begins with a C. All
Uh-huh.
the rest began with D. Dismiss,
Okay.
design, depart, determine. The last one is to count on.
Contar con.
Exactly. To count on someone. We don't say to count with someone. If you say to count with someone, for example, David, can you count with me? Can you count with me? Say
Okay.
yes.
Okay, yes, let's count.
Let's go.
1, 2, 3,
4,
okay.
5. Muy bien. To count with is simplemente contar así en voz
Okay.
alta. Con alguien. Count with me, guys. 1, 2, 3. Good. To count on is contar con alguien o con el apoyo o la ayuda de alguien.
Ajá.
Okie dokie. David, it's time to look at the main part of this section, which is the way we use the adverb eventually.
Okay.
Okay? Eventually is a false friend. Es una palabra traidora.
Ajá.
Yeah? Eventually means finalmente
Ajá.
o al final. It doesn't mean eventualmente. Okay? Be careful with the pronunciation because we write it eventually, con dos L's, eventually, but we pronounce it eventually. Cha, cha, cha. Okay? Eventually.
Okay.
Can you say it?
Eventually.
Muy bien. Now we use eventually in the following way. Eventually can, if you want to use it in an emphatic way,
Ajá.
can come at the beginning of a sentence.
Ajá.
Yeah. Eventually we gave up and went home.
Okay.
Yeah. Finalmente, pues lo abandonamos y nos fuimos a casa.
Ajá.
Yeah. Or we can use it before non-auxiliary verbs. Yeah. I eventually realized I was wrong.
Okay.
Or after auxiliary verbs.
Ajá.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Like he could eventually work out the solution.
Ajá.
Okay. Después de los verbos auxiliares y antes de los no auxiliares.
Okay.
No auxiliares siendo el 99,9% de todos los verbos.
Ajá.
Okay, let's have a go then. I'll give you some examples in Spanish and you can translate them off the top of your head,
Okay.
así, to English. Al final llegamos, David.
Eventually we arrived.
Eventually.
Eventually we
Yeah,
arrived.
la U se olvida.
Okay.
Huh? Eventually we arrived. Or we
We got in.
or we eventually arrived.
We eventually arrived.
We eventually arrived. Okay. Al final me acordé su nombre.
I eventually remembered his name.
I eventually remembered his name. Or, in a more emphatic way, eventually
Eventually I remembered his name.
in stereo, huh?
Yeah.
Eventually,
We are getting
we
better.
are. We're counting together, we're speaking together, it's great. Okay, al final me di cuenta de que iba.
Eventually.
La obra o,
Ah?
la obra o la novela, no sé.
Okay. Eventually I realized
Uh-huh.
what was it talking about, or was it what was
Pero
it?
esa es una pregunta directa.
What it was talking about?
Or what it was about.
What? Okay.
Mejor.
What it was about?
Okay, eventually I realized what it was about. O, colocando eventually antes del verbo,
Uh-huh. I eventually realized what it was about.
Muy bien, fantastic. I eventually realized what it was about. Okay, al final me dormí.
I eventually fell asleep.
Fell asleep, bien, ok. Al final pagaron su hipoteca.
They eventually paid their mortgage.
Ok, cuando pagamos una hipoteca, we usually say to pay off your
Okay.
mortgage. Okay?
Okay.
Pay off your mortgage means acabar de pagarlo o también entregar pagos adelantados, ¿no? ¿Se dice así?
Ajá.
Algo así, ¿ya?
Los pagos a plazos, pagar los
Sí,
plazos.
pero si quieres pagar más del,
Okay.
del plazo, is to pay off some of your mortgage.
Okay, good.
A lot of people try to pay off, con dos Fs,
Ajá.
their mortgage early.
Okay.
And when you finish paying, también empleamos el mismo verbo, to pay it off. I've
Okay.
paid off my mortgage. Ya está
Ajá.
pagado. ¿Ya?
Good.
Good. Al final se fueron a su casa.
They eventually went home.
Muy bien, excellent, because we don't say they eventually went to their house or to their home. We don't use the possessive adjective usually when we're talking about home. Okay? I went home, a mi casa. He went home, a su casa. You went home, te fuiste a tu casa.
Ajá.
Bueno, en español también se dice, me
Ajá.
fui a casa, se
Ajá.
fue a casa, ¿no?
Yes.
Bien. Ok, al final suspendieron la búsqueda.
They eventually called off
Fantastic.
the,
Wow.
the research.
No,
or
not the
no.
research. Research is investigación. The search.
The search. Okay.
All right, good. They eventually called off the search.
search.
Even the research también. The search. Let's wake up. All right. Al final tiraron la cafetera. Como
They-
no sabía. Bueno.
They eventually threw the coffee machine away.
Machine or the cafetiere. Ajá.
Yeah.
Away.
Yes.
Good. Porque se le cayó el asa.
Because the handle dropped.
Didn't drop. Drop is when cuando hay una persona involucrada.
Because the handle fell down.
The handle fell.
Over. Off. Okay. good.
Okay, ¿por qué? Porque the handle's on
Yes.
the cafetiere
Uh-huh.
and it fell off.
Okay.
Okay? For example, a picture on the wall is on the wall, so it falls
Uh-huh.
off.
Okay.
Okay? The mug is on the table or on the poof. It can fall off the poof. Okay,
Uh-huh.
let's do one more. Al final, tiré la toalla.
I eventually threw the towel.
Threw the towel in, se puede
Threw the
decir, or
towel
I
in.
eventually,
I eventually gave in.
eventually I gave up.
Okay.
Okay, gave in is ceder.
Okay.
Un poco diferente. Yeah. Eventually, I gave up, or I eventually gave up. Don't forget to pronounce eventually with a ch. Eventually, okay? All right, take care. Bye bye.
All right. Class number 184 is now over, which means that we have 11 classes left. I was going to say 16. Still, I'm 1 week off, which means we have 11 classes left. Tomorrow's class number 185, and many of the things we're doing now are simply basic review for you. But you have to remember, I've told you many times, that the easiest aspects of language, of the English language, are the most critical for everyday communication, even for important meetings, important contracts you need to negotiate. The most basic elements of the language are the most essential and most critical for the success of your communication. So don't get impatient or irritated if we teach you things that you think you know. We need to continue fusing them, fusionarlos, in your brain until it becomes a sixth sense. It's absolutely essential. See you tomorrow.